Hello there, I'm Mike the Gardener, and welcome back to the second in my series of how to design your dream garden. In today's how-to video, we're going to be looking at how to look at the soil and assess what type of soil you have in your garden, which will in turn determine what type of plants you can put into it. So we're going to be having a close look at soil today in our gardens, and by determining what type of soil we have, whether it's acid or alkaline or somewhere in between, whether it's clay, loam or sand, will allow us to determine what plants we can grow in our gardens. So I'm going to show you now how to test your soil. Testing the type of soil you have in your garden isn't difficult, it's really easy. You can get a soil testing kit from your local garden centre or online for a couple of quid or less, and they're really easy to use. Okay, first take your tube. You'll see there is a fine powder in the very bottom of that tube, and that will react with the soil when you put it in it. So the first thing to do is take a sample of soil. So I've got my sample of soil and I'm going to carefully put this into the container. Not too much. A scientific operation this, and science was never my strong point at school. Okay, so I've got the soil in there up to the first line. Next I'm going to add some hot water to that. Next I'm going to add the hot water to the test tube up to the top line, like so. Pop the top on and give that a really good shake. Then I'm just going to leave that to settle, and we'll see that the colour will change during the back of the video. So once you've given that a really good shake, just leave it somewhere where it can settle, and we'll have a look at that in a few minutes' time. Okay, so I've allowed the soil testing kit to settle down, and you'll see, looking at the colour, it's between neutral and acid. Now, if you've got a neutral soil, your pH will be about 7. If it's lower than 7, it's acid, and if it's higher than 7, it's an alkaline soil. You don't necessarily have to buy a soil testing kit to see what type of soil you have. Have a peer around the neighbourhood, see what plants are growing in your neighbours' gardens. If you're on an alkaline soil, plants like ceanothus and cornus and laurel will look really healthy and will be growing really well. In my garden, plants like skimmia and camellias and rhododendrons grow particularly well, because I'm on a fairly acid neutral type soil. So now we've determined what type of soil we have in terms of whether it's acid or alkaline or somewhere in between. Make a note of that, because we'll come back to that when we come to look at planting. But one last thing to check is take a handful of soil and have a good feel to see what sort of texture it has. Mine's fairly sandy and free draining. Yours might be too, or it might be clay and quite smooth. You could probably roll it into a ball if you would take a handful of it out of the soil. Or it might be somewhere in between, a lovely rich loam. Again, make a note of your soil type, and we'll have a look at it when we come to look at the planting later on in the series. Join me next time. We'll be looking at why we make a garden design plan and how to draw up a plan. If you have any questions about today, as always, I'm Mike the Gardener. See you next time. Bye bye.